He drove a black car with the number 3 on the door. Growing up in a small mill town, he dropped out of school in the ninth grade. He clawed his way to the top of one of America's most dangerous sports. And when he got there, he never forgot where he came from. Dale Earnhardt Sr. died on the last lap of the Daytona 500 in 2001. But somewhere along the way, the internet decided he wasn't done yet. Welcome to Sunshine Strategies Radio. I'm your host, Jen, and today we're talking about Comrade Dale, Yolidarity, and why a redneck hellraiser from Kannapolis, North Carolina might be exactly the patron saint America needs right now. So grab a beverage, let's get into it. Continuing my exploration of random things getting stuck in my brain, today I went down a new rabbit hole for me, and again, it's a weird topic for me personally. Because today I'm talking about Dale Earnhardt. Now, as the granddaughter of a man who loved NASCAR and always supported the man in black, I haven't thought about Mr. Earnhardt in a long time. That is, until he started showing up in my newsfeed as Comrade Dale. And I leaned into this Yolidarity movement without really examining why Mr. Earnhardt was there too. So this morning I dug in a little bit. I already knew that he drove number 3 in NASCAR, that he was known to be an aggressive driver, the intimidator himself, but I didn't know the full story of where he came from. Dale Earnhardt Sr. grew up in Kannapolis, North Carolina, a mill town. His grandfather worked the cotton mill, and his father Ralph worked that cotton mill too, before he started tinkering with race cars in a garage behind his house on the weekends, trying to find a way out. Ralph became a local racing legend, but he never fully left the mill behind. That was the world Dale Earnhardt was born into. Now, Dale dropped out of school in ninth grade to chase racing, against his father's wishes. Ralph was pissed. Their relationship was strained for years afterwards, and when Ralph died of a heart attack in 1973 at just 45 years old, Dale had almost nothing. No money, no team, no real career yet. His son, Dale Jr., said it best years later. When I lost my dad, I had a comfortable existence. When he lost his dad, he had nothing. He clawed his way up anyway. Sheer determination, working every angle, taking every ride he could get, and eating the losses. His first real race was in a 1956 Ford that was supposed to be painted purple. Love that color. But his cousin mixed the colors wrong and it came out pink. They didn't have any money for more paint, so pink it stayed. That's a man who knows what it is to make do. By the end, he had 7 Winston Cup championships, tied for the most in history. He became the first driver to top $30 million in career earnings. He built an empire. And by most accounts, he never forgot where he came from. Former NASCAR crew chief Travis Carter told a story on Dale Jr.'s podcast about a moment at Daytona during a preseason check-in. Earnhardt Sr. had walked past him, just brushed by, and Carter felt something slip into his jacket pocket. He reached in and he found a commemorative knife that Dale had just quietly slipped him. No announcement, no fanfare, just a gesture that said, "I see you." Carter said that's the part of Dale Earnhardt that people really need to know, that he existed. That's the real story. The redneck hellraiser who fought his way to the top and stayed humble, stayed intimidating, never became one of the wealthy assholes who tread on others. He punched up, never down. So the people's champ slowly morphed into a populist hero, and eventually into Comrade Dale, the face of this Yolidarity, the idea that working class solidarity doesn't belong to just one region, one party, or one cultural tribe. That you can love NASCAR and believe the system is rigged against regular people. That a man in a black car from a mill town in North Carolina can stand for something bigger than himself. Dale Earnhardt was one of us. And to be real honest, his kind of solidarity is the thing that I have missed so much in politics lately. That yolidarity is something we need a whole lot more of. All right. Now moving on to this week's news across our 6 counties, starting with Macon. And not the greatest news out of Macon County, especially for affordable housing. The Decatur Area Habitat for Humanity has officially announced its permanent ceasing of operations after nearly 4 decades of service. Founded in 1987, the organization helped construct numerous homes providing safe and affordable housing for local families throughout the region. Following a thorough review with help from Habitat for Humanity International, it was determined that closing this affiliate was the most responsible path forward. And if you've got any questions or want more information about this topic, there will be links in the story online below. And on the data center front, specifically the Broadwing Energy front, that's the proposed 400 megawatt natural gas cogeneration plant on the ADM campus on North Brush College Road. Now, that's a draft air construction permit is now out for public comment with the deadline of June 22nd. If you have thoughts on that project, now is your window to get those in. The plant, which would supply power to Google and Steam to ADM, is targeting commercial operations by 2030, with a final investment decision that was expected in the second quarter of this year. Moving over to McLean County, the McLean County Board has approved new, more restrictive zoning requirements for data centers, stopping short of the full 6-month moratoriums approved by Bloomington and Normal, but giving the county some of the strongest data center regulations in the central Illinois region. The new rules require facility owners to identify potential impacts on roads, emergency services, and utilities. This is part of a broader regional conversation about how fast we're letting large tech infrastructure land in our communities without asking hard questions first. And in Bloomington, Mayor Dan Brady says that summer is marking progress on more than $315 million in public and private investment projects. And the city is moving to revive the former Grossinger Motors Arena. It looks to market naming right opportunities for the downtown arena with a news conference planned to highlight revived use of the building. Moving to DeWitt County, the University of Illinois Broadband Lab has completed a study detailing areas in DeWitt County that could really use reinforcement of their wireless connectivity, identifying existing vertical assets like towers and structures that could house equipment to improve coverage, particularly in the more rural areas where reaching emergency services can be a challenge. The study was presented to the DeWitt County Land Use Committee, and this is one of those quiet infrastructure stories that matters a lot to the people who live outside of town. Over in Logan County, farmers in the region are getting some complicated news from the University of Illinois Extension. An updated ag analysis for the 2026 growing season revealed that despite steep hikes in input expenses, projected strength in the soybean and corn markets could help offset those costs for regional grain producers. It's a volatile year, high cost, high prices, and the margin for error stays tight. And families in Logan County should also know that the summer reading programs are now underway at your local library, including the Lincoln Public Library, with free activities, prizes, and events designed to keep kids engaged while school's out. From story times to craft days to teen programs, these programs offer families an affordable way to stay connected and learning throughout the summer. And then over in Christian County, the U of I Extension is hosting their annual Dudley Smith Field Day. And that is a day of demonstrations and information for producers. I'm going to put a link to the Extension website for more details. And families should be aware that Christian County emergency officials are updating the county's hazard mitigation plan and are inviting the public to participate. A public meeting is scheduled for June 16th in Taylorville to discuss ways to reduce the impact of future disasters, including severe storms like the ones that we've had the last 2 days. Since 1999, Christian County has experienced 8 federally declared disasters, making preparedness an important community conversation. And then Statewide, this one matters for every community across our coverage area. There's a bill heading to Governor Pritzker's desk which will remove an estimated 10,000 people from Illinois' Medicaid program, all of them non-citizens who are in the country legally, including refugees, asylum seekers, veterans, and victims of trafficking. This is a result of last year's federal One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which cut Medicaid eligibility for nearly all non-citizens except lawful permanent residents. Coverage for this group will end October 1st, and state officials estimate that broader federal Medicaid changes could ultimately cause around 330,000 Illinois residents to lose coverage. Community health centers will be on the front lines of absorbing that impact, and that includes clinics right here in central Illinois. So, wrapping up, Dale Earnhardt Sr. never ran for office. He never gave a TED Talk. He never wrote a manifesto. He just stayed who he was, all the way to the top, and never used his power to grind somebody else down. That's not a complicated political philosophy. But right now, in our country, it feels like a radical one. That's going to wrap it up for Sunshine Strategies Radio this week, covering Macon, Piatt, DeWitt, Logan, McLean, and Christian counties. If today's show meant something to you, I hope you share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you've got a story worth telling from our 6-county area, reach out. I'm Jen. Stay strategic, stay human, and raise hell, but punch up.